I, Chair Heather Miller, called a virtual electrical and elevator board meeting of November 18th, 2021 to order at 9:30 a.m. Debbie, please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Chair Heather Miller.
Here.
Vice Chair Thomas Kyle.
Here.
BJ Barlow.
Here.
Amy Byer.
Here.
Amy, please unmute your microphone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Amy Byer.
Yep.
Elizabeth Bunga.
Here.
Randy Carmody.
Here.
And John Flagel excused him last night. He is very ill. He is absent this morning. Rob McNeil. Rob. Ryan Richards.
Here.
Randy Smith.
Here.
Madam Chair, we just have a quorum.
Thank you, Debbie. Do any members have any changes to the agenda or order of business? I, Chair Miller, rule the agenda approved. We also got the draft minutes of the last board meeting. I didn't see anything that needed to be fixed, so unless anybody else has anything to say, I, Chair Miller, rule the draft meeting minutes of September 23rd, 2021 final. The date of the next meeting is January 27th, 2022. This is the last meeting that I'm running. I'll be replaced in my position at the next meeting, and the board will be voting for a new chair at that meeting, and we'll be welcoming 2 members at that meeting as well. I'll come back so everybody can say goodbye virtually, but anyway, and then the rest of the year's meetings were in the packet. The dates for the rest of the year's meetings were in the packet that is posted on the website and that Debbie sent out. Moving on to agenda item 2, public comment. Policy analyst Tyler Glaze will, I think we have some people for public comment today, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tyler Glaze, policy analyst for the Building Codes Division. We do have 2 individuals signed up for public comment, Madam Chair, but I do want to take a moment to ask if anyone else other than Dax Ramsey or George Kafouros is connected and wishes to make a public comment today. Madam Chair, I am not hearing anyone, so if you would like to proceed with Dax Ramsey.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ramsey.
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Dax Ramsey. I'm a journeyman electrician. I currently work for the City of Portland in signals and street lighting. I'm here to ask the board to clarify what code cycle is being used for the supervisor's exam, code and calculation sections. The mailer that comes when you register for class does not denote that 2 different code books are required for this test. This has caused me confusion. Can the board please update the mailer test participants receive when they are approved to take test, explaining this with some more clarity? If a line was added that just said code portion on NEC 2020 and calculations on NEC 2017, and that two code books are required, the confusion would be remedied. I'm also asking if possible that my tests that I have taken since July be reviewed. Thank you for your consideration of this matter. I'm sorry my camera's not working today.
That's fine. Does anybody have any questions for Dax? I did talk to Keith Anderson about this after I got the voicemail from you, Dax. And Keith, I don't want to misstate the conversation we had, but I'm pretty sure that you were updating the test packets. Is that correct? To say what code books the questions are out of?
Yes, we're working on that to make sure there isn't any confusion. We recently got all the questions in the bank. There was, I don't know, 12 or 1,400 questions were recently all updated. There were really no changes made. The questions are generic enough that code cycles didn't really make a difference on the large test bank. That's the one that we had a committee put together about 3 years ago with industry and went through all the questions, and I think we spent 18 months on that. So Sean has the questions. The bank is up to the 2020 now. Sean Cole has completed that, as I expressed at the last meeting. And then the code, as far as the calculations portion, hasn't changed for several cycles. So it is going to change significantly in the 2020 when we update that portion. And so it's going to be, time intensive to do that. Anyway, I'm going to speak a little bit more at the update, on this process. But it's we also are going to have licensing is going to be adding a line that everything is on the 2020, except for the calculation portion of the supervisor's test. So that's the only one that hasn't been updated yet. So we are working on that right now.
Okay, thanks, Keith. And then, Tyler, do you introduce?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, members of the board, Tyler Glaze, policy analyst for the division. Next up for public comment is George Kafouros.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board, staff, and guests. My name is George Kafouros. I'm a journeyman electrician. I work at Portland State University. I'm also here to talk about the general supervisor's exam. I have recently taken the exam twice, and while trying to pursue it a third time, I recently found out that while I was studying for the exam using the 2020 NEC code, calculations part of the exam is still based on the 2017 code. This was mentioned at the September 28th, 21 board meeting by Mr. Anderson and noted in the meeting minutes. According to OAR 918-305-100, effective April 1st, 2021, the 2021 Oregon Electrical Specialty Code consists of the 2020 edition NFPA 70 NEC. So with that in mind, any applicants that are taking the exam would assume both parts of the exam are based on the 2020 code cycle and not the 2017 code cycle. Also, this is not clearly stated on the electrical license exam guideline that is posted online and sent to the applicants before they set up their test dates with their testing facility. I would like to recommend that further electrical license exam guidelines clearly list the code year on which the exam is written on. I would also like to request that a review process be allowed for supervisor exams taken after April 1st, 2021. I believe this would be in good faith since many applicants have taken their time out of their work and family life, traveled long distances, and paid for testing and training fees. I hope this information and concern is taken under consideration. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, George. I'll let Keith finish when he does his program update. We're going on to agenda item 3, reports. We have Michael Mayorga-Hamilton, the case representative.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. For the record, stated my name is Michael Mayorga-Hamilton. I'm a contested case representative for the division. Before the board, we have consent orders that were recently negotiated by the division on behalf of the board, and we have entered into 2 consent agreements since our last board meeting. All settlements, including the amount owed and suspended civil penalties, fall within the guidelines on our matrix, and they contain the standard conditions. Both are standard consent orders, and both require board approval or denial. You can choose to take action on the agreements as a whole or take action on each agreement separately. The first case on the agenda is case C-2020-46 in the matter of Pronto Signs, LLC. The respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $8,000 for allowing an unlicensed person to perform electrical work, failing to have an electrical permit, and aiding and abetting unlicensed electrical activity. Respondent has agreed to pay $4,250 with a $3,750 suspended penalty for a period of 5 years. The violations in this case have also led to the reinstatement of respondent's previous suspended penalty of $3,500 in case C-2017-198, which is also included in this consent order. The second case on the agenda is C-2020-157 in the matter of Evgen Perakopsky. The respondent in this case was assessed a penalty of $6,000 for making electrical installations without an electrical contractor's license, without an Oregon journeyman electrician's license, and without an electrical permit. Respondent has agreed to pay a penalty of $750 with $5,250 suspended. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Through the chair. Michael, I'm curious on Pronto Signs, if it's a 4th-time violator, why were they suspended $3,750?
I believe it's our typical process to also to negotiate and have to have some sort of suspended amount.
If I can, this is Todd Smith, Enforcement Manager with BCD. The CCR that was on this case is not in today, so Michael doesn't have all the details, so I'll just jump in. We did negotiate quite a bit with the respondents in this case, and part of it was their cooperation with the investigation, as well as they have developed a plan to immediately pay the civil penalties in the previous case as well as this case. So I think we've gotten our point across of the seriousness that we're taking these violations. We do have a monitoring plan for them. So we think we're in a good spot to get some long-term compliance out of them with this path.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'll make a motion that we adopt the 2 cases as a resolution and as the enforcement board's report and issue the final order.
Okay, we have a motion. Debbie, vote please.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to verify if the motion is for the 2 cases.
Correct.
Thank you. DJ Barlow?
Aye.
Amy Byer?
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga?
Aye.
Randy Carmody?
Aye.
Rob McNeil? Yeah, I will mark him absent this morning. Ryan Richards?
Aye.
Randy Smith?
Aye.
Vice Chair Tom Kyle?
Aye.
And Madam Chair Heather Miller.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Debbie.
Welcome.
Agenda item 3B, back with Michael Mayorga-Hamilton.
So the division has three default items on the agenda. No action is required on these. First is Northwest Custom Concepts. They were penalized for allowing unlicensed electrical individuals to perform electrical work. They failed to have an electrical contractor's license, and they failed to have an electrical permit. The penalty assessed was $6,000, and the penalty to be paid will be $6,000 as well. The second item is case C-2020-110, which is William Colburley. In this case, a penalty of $2,000 is being assessed for allowing unlicensed individuals to perform electrical work, and the penalty to be paid will be $2,000 as well. The last item is case C-2020-160, Dusty Baker. In this case, the violations are for failing to have a supervising electrician's license, no electrical contractor's license, and no electrical permit. The penalty is $6,000, and the penalty to be paid is $6,000 as well. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Michael. Anybody?
Thank you.
Anybody?
Thank you.
All right, agenda item. A nice echo going on. Warren Hartung.
Good morning, Madam Chair, morning, members of the board. For the record, Warren Hartung, Elevator Program Chief, Statewide Services. In the packet this morning, you'll see September and October's highlights of the elevator safety program, our completed inspections, overdue inspections, and our accident reports. Nothing really new to note on this occasion, other than to thank Heather for her service and her leadership during her tenure. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure knowing you. Hope we stay in touch.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Warren.
If I may say something, Madam Chair, Heather will be back for formal farewell at the next meeting.
Okay, we'll bring cake.
I'll eat it virtually. All right, agenda item 3D. Electrical program update from Keith Anderson.
All right, good morning. So it's been relatively quiet. Not too much to report. The one issue that's been going on is the supervisor's tests. I didn't realize there was quite the level of confusion, that there is out there with this, being on the 2017 test still rather than the 2020. The 2017, that particular tables and things used in the calculations, this is not the first cycle. The numbers that there are used have been in cycle for quite some time. And when we do go to the 2020, there's going to be some significant changes. So, if someone does try to use the 2020, then it could be an issue. I'm trying to stay away from doing, going over the tests with people, doing reviews. I know that's been done quite a bit in the past. I don't agree with it. I think the tests, need to stand on their own. They're well written. Since I've been here, they've had to be rewritten several times due to the integrity questions on the test. So they somehow seem to get out within the industry. So to say all this, it worked really well when we had industry get together. We put together a committee and went through all the 1,400 code questions that we had and got those all dialed in and clarified them. I understand that the journeyman tests are, the passage is way up on that. They're doing real well. I think it was very successful. And I would like to do the same thing with the calculation portion, of the supervisor's test. They've been problematic for many years, and it would be, really a good deal to get, a dozen tests that were new and developed by industry with different viewpoints, on how to put them together. I'm not here to try to trick anyone. I just want to be able to verify their level of competence when they receive a supervisor license. We do receive quite a few complaints, one thing or another, on the tests. If the board sees that it's a benefit to suspend the supervisor's test for a while we're rewriting these, they may want to consider doing something like that. I am at a loss as to what else to do to try, to put these together any better than we have. So anyway, I think they're fairly well written. I think they're clearer than they've been for a long time, and I would just ask the board to let me put a committee together, to do these updates.
Through the chair, Keith, I was part of that rewriting committee on the exam committee, and I think that was a success, and I would support going through the calculations and updating those for the state as well. I think that would be a good suggestion.
Great, thank you.
Through the chair, Keith, I'd like to say I completely agree with you on that. The test is not, I get calls and talk to people, that are interested in taking that test all the time. That test is not designed to be easy. And I don't think, I was also on that committee and I thought we really did well to get rid of all the tricky questions or what people thought were tricky questions. And it was just based on, making sure we have the knowledge. So I do feel that probably most of your complaints are just based on it's not an easy test and it's not designed to be an easy test. So I would support anything, recommendations if we wanted to go through that again. That would be great. It's probably not a bad idea to do that every once in a while just to keep things up and current and fresh. So, but I appreciate all that work you did on that.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay, well, since we have a public forum here, I would request those that are interested in being part of that to contact me, and I will, get some of us together and we can, figure out a platform to try to get these, dialed in, to where they match the 2020. And like I say, there are some significant changes, and this wasn't something I wanted to do hastily, so it's going to take some time. And that's all I had, unless someone had some questions.
Keith, I do have a question. Again, I understand this test is hard. And I missed my first test by one question. And I'm assuming because I have
George, will you please
Yes.
start? You introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's George Kafouros again, Portland State. Again, so I've recently taken the exam. I understand it's hard. It is hard. But again, using the wrong information to do the test was part of the issue. But being so close and missing it by one question with four, I think I had four major calcs in that first test. It's just, I guess what I'm trying to get at is yeah, the clarification, I guess, still, I don't mind taking the test if it states, we don't have to pause the test, but just stating, okay, it's still on 2017, so everybody can bring the correct materials to the test. I don't think we should pause the test, but just clarify on the sheet what books to bring to the exam. So that would be my 2 cents. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Through the chair, George, I'd be happy to take a look at your test and look at those specific questions that the 2020 may have affected, your outcome. I've done that twice now when there was some question on that. So again, I don't think nobody's hidden. We haven't been secretive about what code that we're working on with those. But I would look at that test and I think there was another fella, Mr. Ramsey, had the same issue, and I would or Sean Cole, we can take a look at those and look at those specific questions that may have had a different outcome depending on the code cycle. Yeah, and if you guys could send me an email to get me started with that, would be great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Keith.
Welcome.
Skipping right over a couple agenda items that have no content to new business. 7. Back to Tyler Glaze, policy analyst.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Again, Tyler Glaze, policy analyst for the division. If you look down in your agenda, there is a brief memorandum about continuing education. There was 59 applications from 18 organizations for this round of continuing education. 32 courses were recommended by the committee for approval. 3 courses were recommended for denial, and 24 instructors were recommended for approval. The matrix is just below that on the agenda. So if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to voice them to me and I'll answer them as best I can. But otherwise, Madam Chair, this will require a motion.
I was very happy to see someone who once was my apprentice on the approved instructor list. How time flies.
Through the chair, I would like to make a motion to approve the committee's recommendations for approval or denial of courses or instructors.
We have a motion. Debbie, can you take a roll call vote?
Yes, ma'am. BJ Barlow?
Aye.
Amy Byer?
Aye.
Elizabeth Bunga?
Aye.
Randy Carmody?
Aye.
Ryan Richards?
Aye.
Randy Smith?
Aye.
Vice Chair Thomas Kyle?
Aye.
And Madam Chair Heather Miller?
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That was
welcome.
Vote. I don't know if I get to speak at the next meeting, but I'll say this anyway. I just want to thank everybody on the board and everybody at the division for making this easier for me and the work that everybody does. It's a lot of work and it's not the bright, flashy stuff, but it really matters. So thank you. And there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 9:59.